Are you ready for another tutorial? Let's make this sweet little hexie. The pattern's available from the Quilted Cow. This is a helpful heifer pattern. I did add Insulated to make it into a trivet, and this does include a turned binding. So you can do this all yourself. You don't even have to call my mom to do the binding. And I made this in just an hour or two. Let's get started. So in your kit, there is a template that you can use. However, I recommend getting one of these little hexie rulers. They are worth their weight in gold. All you do is lay it on top of your fabric. In this instance, I was fussy cutting that fabric pattern out to be in the middle so I could see right through it, and it worked fantastic. Step 1, cut out your focal point fabric with a hexie pattern or hexie ruler. This is my Fonz & Porter hexie ruler. Step 2, pick 2 to 3 border fabrics. I'm going to use these fun fat quarters that I got when I was at the Quilted Cow the last time. I will tell you, I got them on sale for $2 a piece, and they're fantastic fabrics. Step 3, iron and starch your fabric. Okay, this is optional, but you know, I've kind of become addicted to starch, and no, it's not because it smells good. I'm not sniffing starch or something like that. I just like it. So iron and starch your fabric. Starch and iron your fabric. Do it in that order. Now we're going to cut some strips. So step 1, I'm just going to kind of square up one of the sides of my fabric. I actually laid all 3 fabrics on top of each other. Folded over my fabric just so I could get it in my ruler. And I'm going to use my June Taylor shape cut ruler. These are available on the Quilted Cow websites. They're like $32. It's the best money you can spend. I'm not lying on that one. I love this to death. And everybody I've talked to says the same thing. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to do a 1.5 inch strip to go on the edges of my thing. With this ruler, I'm gonna go, here's my 1, here's my 1.5. I'm gonna drop it in that hole and I'm gonna cut it. The next one up is 3. That slices through that baby like butter. And then I'm going to go up another 1.5 inches, which is 4.5. There we go. So now I have 3 cuts, 3 strips, which is more than enough for what I'm doing, at 1.5, and I'm going to use them as my edging on this fabric, and I'm going to show you what to do next. So here's the trick to this. I'm going to come about, I don't know, that much off the top. It's probably like 1 inch, and I'm going to lay it over, and I'm going to pin it right at these corners. And then I'm going to sew it on, and look, I'm not cutting anything off yet. Trust me on this. Okay, I'm just sewing a 1/4 inch seam right on. So I already cut this by accident. So remember, I left that strip long. You're going to fold it back, and then you're going to use your ruler and you're going to trim off the sides. So you're just going to line it up with the edge and trim off the sides. It'll end up looking like a funky little hat. The next part is where the magic happens. So I'm going to take this next little strip and I'm going to lay it on top, just like this. Now look, I'm going over the top edge of this, and I'm going over the edge of that, just like this, and I'm going to grab a pin and I'm going to pin it in. And I'm not trimming this off. I'm leaving it long because I'm going to keep cutting and keep using until this strip is gone, and then I'm going to move to the next strip. So I sewed it on. I'm going to fold it out again, finger press it. I went a little long on this side, so you know you don't have to go that far. I'm going to take my ruler, lay it on the edge. I'm lining it up with the top here, and I'm going to trim off that little tail, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take this last little piece, and I'm going to lay it over. Remember, go over the edge. Don't have to maybe go that far, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to pin it. You're going to make sure you're going over this edge, and you're going to pin it again, and we're going to rinse, wash, repeat till we get all the way around. I've got these all sewed on, just like I showed you, and it looks complex. It looks like there's some weird overlappy thing, but it's super duper easy. So now I'm going to do the next layer. I'm going to take this dark blue and I'm going to go over. Now here's the trick. I'm going to go all the way over. So I don't want that little point lined up here. I want that little point all the way over. See how I've got some distance? Because you're eventually going to do the same thing I just showed you with overlapping. So I don't want to risk at all that I end up with a gap of some kinds, because we just don't want that, right? So I'm going to pin it, and I'm going to pin it, and I'm going to sew it. And this is just kind of one of those easy, relaxing things. So if you like do events and you have a craft show, a hexie is one of the greatest things you can have there. They make great table toppers. They make great hot pads. They make all sorts of great things out of them. Okay, somebody asked me to do a demo on a turned binding. I'm not the best at turned bindings, but I'm going to show you. I've got this hexie put together. I've quilted it to this piece of fabric. And now I'm just trimming it off to where I've got about 2 inches from the edge of the fabric out to the other edge of the fabric. I'm just gonna run that way. You can do it a little less if you want to. It's just how I like to do it. And I just use my ruler on the edge of the fabric and I push it out. Go all the way around. So next we're going to fold in 1/4 inch all the way around and iron it, and then we're going to fold it in again over the edge of the fabric and pin it. Okay, I'm not speeding this up because I want you to see what I'm doing. As I'm folding it in again a second time, remember I folded it and ironed it, now I'm folding it in again. I'm making these little creases on the corner. So as you fold one side, it gives you a folded piece, and then you're going to fold it again. Now when you do this, pin right on that corner so that you get that nice angled corner look. You can watch me do it again here, and I'm not speeding this up on purpose because I think it's important that you actually see what I'm doing. But see how it comes in like this? Super easy. I'm bringing it down. I'm going to pin it right before I get to this corner. Now I'm going to do this little overlappy corner thing. And you see how at the overlappy corner thing I have a nice little angle and I put the pin right in it. That's the trick to this. If you put the pins right in the little corner, when you're sewing it, you'll make it work. Okay, next we're going to sew the turned binding in place. Now I'm using a gray thread just because that's what I had in my machine, and I kind of wanted it to stand out so you could see it. But you're just sewing right along the edge. Now you can sew even closer to the edge if you want to, and if you use the same color thread, no one will ever see it. It looks really good. When you come to the corner, bring the needle down, you're going to leave it in place like this. Lift your pressure foot, put your presser foot back down, and keep going. Did you see how I spun that fabric a little bit? I turned the whole piece when I got to the corner. You're going to see it again here in just a minute. I'm going to come to the corner. I'm going to leave my presser foot down, or my needle down. I'm going to raise my presser foot, and I'm going to pivot the whole entire project and just keep going. If you go all the way around your fabric, this will give you a nice turned binding.